There is a moment that arrives without warning. A moment when something inside you shifts so completely that you barely recognize yourself anymore. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. There is no explosion or grand announcement. It is simply the moment when you stop feeling for someone who has taken everything from you. The empath goes cold. And when this happens, the people around you panic. Because you were never supposed to change. You were the constant they could rely on. The endless well of understanding. The person who always gave one more chance. The one who always came back. The one who always forgave. But that person is gone now. And in their place stands someone they do not recognize. You remember when you used to feel everything. Every emotion in the room was yours to carry. Every person's pain became your responsibility. You absorbed anger that was not meant for you. You held space for people who never held space for you in return. You poured yourself into others until there was nothing left. And you did it all because you believed this was what it meant to be good. To be kind. To be an empath. Carl Jung understood something most people miss. He taught that the shadow is the part of yourself you have been taught to reject. For the empath, the shadow is not cruelty or malice. It is the capacity to stop caring. It is the ability to walk away. It is the power to say no without guilt. You have spent your entire life suppressing this part of yourself because you were told that empaths are supposed to feel endlessly. But Jung knew that what you deny in yourself does not disappear. It grows in the darkness. It builds pressure. And one day, without warning, it breaks through. This is the moment you go cold. You have always felt too much. When someone was angry, you felt their anger in your own body. When someone was sad, their sadness became yours to fix. You learned to read every micro-expression, every shift in tone, every subtle change in energy. You became fluent in other people's emotions while forgetting the language of your own. And the people in your life learned to use this. They learned that you would always absorb their overflow. That you would always translate their cruelty into misunderstanding. That you would always make excuses for behavior that should never be excused. They learned that you were safe to use because you would never leave. But they were wrong. Carl Sagan spent his life studying the cosmos. He understood that we are made of stardust. That the atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. That we are the universe experiencing itself. And in the context of cosmic time, in the vastness of space, the people who hurt you are less than a speck of dust. This perspective changes everything. Because when you finally understand how precious your existence is, how limited your time, how miraculous it is that you are here at all, you realize something profound. You realize that spending your finite life being drained by people who do not value you is not kindness. It is tragedy. The moment you go cold is not the moment you stop feeling. It is the moment you stop wasting your feelings on people who have proven they do not deserve them. Maybe you thought you could love them into healing. Maybe you believed that if you just understood them deeply enough, gave them enough chances, showed them enough patience, they would finally see your value. Maybe you convinced yourself that their behavior was not really about you. That they were wounded. That they were struggling. That beneath the cruelty was someone worth saving. But Jung would tell you that you cannot heal someone who refuses to look at their own shadow. You cannot save someone who is comfortable drowning. And trying to do so only pulls you under with them. You have given so much. You have bent yourself into shapes that do not fit your soul. You have silenced your own needs to make room for theirs. You have apologized for things you did not do. You have carried guilt that was never yours to carry. You have made yourself smaller and smaller, believing that if you just took up less space, they would finally have room to love you properly. But they never did. And they never will. The moment you go cold is the moment you finally accept this truth. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. But with the calm clarity of someone who has finally stopped lying to themselves. You see them for exactly who they are. Not who they pretended to be. Not who they promised to become. But who they have consistently shown themselves to be through their actions. And something inside you simply stops reaching. Carl Sagan spoke of the pale blue dot. That photograph of Earth taken from billions of miles away, where our entire world appears as a single pixel of light. Every war, every love story, every triumph and tragedy, all contained in that tiny point of light suspended in a sunbeam. He said that it should remind us of our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish that pale blue dot. But he also understood that some people will not cherish you no matter how much you cherish them. That some people will take your kindness and mistake it for weakness. That some people are so lost in their own darkness that they cannot see the light you are offering. And you cannot spend your brief time on this pale blue dot waiting for blind people to finally see you. The coldness you feel now is not cruelty. It is consciousness. It is the part of you that has been buried beneath years of conditioning finally breaking through the surface. Jung called this individuation. The process of becoming who you actually are instead of who others need you to be. And for the empath, this process requires something that feels impossible. It requires you to stop caring about people who do not care about you. This does not happen all at once. It happens in moments. Small moments when you realize you are not rushing to respond to their message. When you notice their crisis does not activate your rescue response anymore. When you hear them complaining about the same problem for the 100th time and feel nothing but tired recognition that they will never change. The warmth that used to flood through you when they needed you has been replaced by something else. Not hatred. Not even dislike. Just a vast, echoing absence where your investment used to be. You have gone cold. And it feels both terrifying and liberating. Because for the first time in your life, you are not available to be used. You are not volunteering to carry weight that is not yours. You are not translating someone else's dysfunction into something acceptable. You are simply here, in your own life, finally paying attention to yourself instead of everyone. Jung taught that the meeting with oneself is one of the most unpleasant things that can be avoided. You have been avoiding this meeting your whole life. You have stayed busy with other people's problems. You have filled every quiet moment with their noise. You have done anything and everything to avoid sitting with yourself and asking the question that terrifies you most. What if I stop giving and there is nothing left? But now you are asking it. And the answer is not what you feared. Because when you stop pouring yourself into people who only know how to take, you discover something miraculous. You discover that you are not empty. You are full. You have more energy than you have had in years because you are no longer bleeding it into relationships that give nothing back. The coldness settles into something deeper. It is not temporary. It is not a phase you will grow out of or a mood that will pass. It is a fundamental shift in how you exist in the world. And the people who knew the old you cannot understand it. They keep waiting for you to warm up again. To go back to being the person who was endlessly available. But that person died. And you are not interested in resurrecting them. Carl Jung believed that psychological death precedes psychological rebirth. The empath you were had to die for the person you are becoming to emerge. And this death was not peaceful. It was violent and painful and necessary. Every boundary you set felt like betrayal. Every time you chose yourself felt like selfishness. Every moment you refused to absorb someone else's chaos felt like failure. But it was not failure. It was survival. You are learning something now that no one ever taught you. You are learning that your empathy was never meant to be given to everyone. That feeling deeply does not mean feeling for people who refuse to feel for themselves. That your sensitivity is a gift that should be protected, not a resource that should be depleted by anyone who asks. The coldness you feel toward the people who used you is not cruelty. It is clarity. And clarity, after years of confusion, feels like ice water in your veins. Carl Sagan understood that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. You are the universe experiencing what it means to be human. To feel. To love. To hurt. To grow. And the universe does not waste its miracles on people who treat them carelessly. You are stardust that has arranged itself into consciousness. You are billions of years of cosmic evolution resulting in this specific moment of awareness. And you have been spending that miracle on people who do not deserve it. This realization does not make you angry anymore. Anger was the bridge that got you here, but you have crossed it now. What you feel instead is something closer to wonder. Wonder that you survived. Wonder that you are still capable of feeling at all after everything you have endured. Wonder that despite being drained and used and taken for granted, you still have enough light inside you to know you deserve better. The people who took advantage of your warmth will try to guilt you back into the cold. They will say you have changed, that you are not the person they knew, that you have become hard or distant or selfish. And every single one of these accusations is a confession. They are confessing that they miss being able to use you, that they preferred the version of you that was disappearing. But Jung would tell you that what they call selfishness is actually self-preservation. What they call coldness is actually boundaries. What they call distance is actually the space required for you to finally breathe. You have always been told that empaths are supposed to be warm, soft, available, understanding. But no one ever told you that warmth without boundaries is not kindness. It is self-destruction. No one ever explained that being understanding does not mean accepting the unacceptable. That being empathetic does not mean absorbing abuse. The moment you went cold, you stopped betraying yourself. And for people who benefited from your self-betrayal, this feels like you have betrayed them. Let them feel that way. Their feelings about your transformation are not your responsibility. Carl Sagan said that somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. For you, that something incredible is yourself. The version of you that exists when you are not performing empathy for an audience that never appreciated it. The version that has opinions and boundaries and the capacity to walk away. The version that can witness suffering without automatically assuming it is yours to fix. This version has been waiting beneath the surface your entire life. Buried under conditioning and expectation and the desperate need to be needed. But the coldness has frozen away everything false. And what remains is real. You are discovering that you can still feel deeply without drowning in other people's emotions. That you can still care about humanity without caring about every individual human who crosses your path. That you can be compassionate from a distance that keeps you safe. Jung taught that the shadow contains not just darkness but also power. Your shadow held the power to say no. The power to leave. The power to stop explaining yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. And now that you have integrated this shadow, now that you have allowed the coldness to teach you what warmth could not, you are more powerful than you have ever been. This power does not look like what you expected. It is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet and certain. It is the power of someone who knows their worth and refuses to negotiate it. The power of someone who has faced their own capacity for indifference, and is no longer afraid of it. You thought going cold would make you cruel. But it has made you discerning. You thought it would make you heartless. But it has made you wise. You thought it would destroy your empathy. But it has simply redirected it toward people who reciprocate it. The cosmos is 13.8 billion years old. Carl Sagan wanted us to understand the scale of that. To comprehend how unlikely and precious our existence is. In all that time, in all that space, the specific arrangement of atoms that makes you has never existed before and will never exist again. You are utterly unique. Completely unrepeatable. And you were spending that unrepeatable existence being a supporting character in other people's stories. The coldness woke you up to this. It made you realize that you have your own story to live. That you are the protagonist, not the emotional support system. That your life belongs to you. And every moment you give to people who do not value you is a moment stolen from the life you could be living. This is not selfishness. This is sanity. Jung said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The empath who has gone cold has done this terrifying work. You have accepted that you are not infinite in your capacity to give. That you have limits. That you are allowed to protect those limits without apologizing. That saying no does not make you a bad person. It makes you a person who has finally learned that their energy is finite and precious. You have accepted your shadow. The part of you that can be cold. That can walk away. That can witness someone drowning and choose not to jump in because you know they will pull you under. This acceptance does not make you heartless. It makes you whole. The people from your old life may never understand this transformation. They may spend years waiting for you to warm up again. To become the person who was always there. Always understanding. Always forgiving. But you cannot go back to being someone you had to destroy yourself to maintain. The moment you went cold, you chose yourself. And that choice is irreversible. Carl Sagan stood beneath the stars and understood that we are made of the same substance. That there is no meaningful distinction between us and the cosmos. That we are not in the universe. We are the universe. And if you are the universe experiencing itself, then wasting yourself on people who cannot see your value is a cosmic tragedy. The moment you went cold was the moment you finally, after all these years, chose to stay warm for yourself.